a son too, and I mean, you basically they're sponges. Kids are sponges. I've talked about this too. Like I looked up to my dad my whole entire life, right? My dad was a hard worker. He taught hard work. There's some things I'm going to change, obviously, too. I won't get into, but
you got your ass would be. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Trey Tipton, and welcome to Trey Talk. And if you didn't know, now you know. And if you knew, tell everybody you know. I got three amazing guests, some guys that are cool in the contracting space. And if you don't know their names, they're going to introduce themselves to you, coming to you right now. I got my man to the left, Billy B. Let him know who you are.
Bill Ryman.
Okay.
You want to keep the intro going?
Yeah,
How
keep
long
it
is this
going. That's already good.
Bill Ryman, owner RK Ryman Construction. I've been in construction my whole entire life, and looking forward to doing this. We've done it once, so back on again.
Okay, T-Money, go ahead and let them know
What's
who
up,
you
Trey? My name's Travis Stokes. I'm from Sacramento, California. Own a company called Action Asphalt out there, and happy to be here.
I love to hear it. G, what we got, G?
What's going on, guys? Garon Beard, owner of Redline Roofing and Armor Seal Asphalt, based in the Nasty Natty.
I like it, the Nasty Natty. So let's get into it, man. It's different, especially when you're a contractor, right? You're coming into the business space. We talk about it so often. It's a lonely space, right? But we're currently at the TCS, right? TCS is something that we call Top Contractor School, where all the guys come together and we have a great time, sometimes a little bit too great of a time, but we have a great time. But with that said, man, what does it feel like to have brothers in arms in a situation where you're typically lonely?
It's awesome, man. We've actually talked about it a few times. It's you have a core group of guys that you can go to with whatever you need, and the unique part of it is we're all part of different businesses, different styles of construction, but we can still call each other, and usually somebody's got an answer for you too, man. So it's everybody's always there. Like every time we meet up, it's like we saw each other yesterday, which is pretty cool too. A lot of good relationships have been formed, a lot of close friendships, and yeah, I mean, everybody kind of pushes each other to get better every single day, for sure.
I like that. What you got for me, T-Money?
Dude, it really is amazing to have people to lean on, have a support group, right? And lean on people that have made the mistakes before, right? And have learned from the mistakes.
Right.
And I always say, like, the best way to learn is go mess something up, right? And so if you don't have to go through that, though, it's the best. So if you can learn from someone who's already gone through the mistake and learn from it, that's awesome. So it's good to have people that you can lean on, that you can ask questions to, right? That, you know, really are your true support group.
For sure.
That's what's big for me.
Yeah, I love this brotherhood that we have. You know, it's kind of like the brothers and sisters that we don't have. And, you know, I could call any of these guys at any time. Lifelong relationships have been made in this group, especially being younger. You know, kind of what Travis had just said, you know, I haven't made all those mistakes yet, but I know there's guys in here who open arms, willing to help any chance they can. So,
what was it like before you guys joined TCS? Like, I don't want to say it's lonely because I'm not going to predict your past, you feel me? But I wanted to know what it was like for each of you before you had jumped in a space where people were like-minded like you. Because for me, bro, especially coming from a small-town school, I was the first ever Division I player coming out of my school. So my friends in school weren't really my friends because they couldn't understand what I was doing. So then as we get into the contracting space, I'm just imagining, right, you guys are building businesses. That means money's involved. That means other people's lives are involved, right? And a lot of our friends work for somebody else. You know what I mean? So you guys get some of that same type of feeling that I had when I was about to go to college. So I want to know, man, what was life like before you guys came into TCS with a bunch of like-minded people?
I think it goes exactly to what you said. I mean, it's like I have a core friend group at home. You know, I don't have many friends at home, you know, because my circle's kind of got smaller. But the ones I do have, it's not like here. Right. You know, like these guys, I can talk about like my visions, where I'm going, where I want to be. But with my friends back at home, it's like I start talking about that kind of stuff. They're like, yeah, man. Anyway, when do you want to go golfing next? You know, or it's just like they're not interested. Like I was talking to one of my friends, this was a couple months ago, and I'm telling him like, you know, my vision of like with podcasting and meeting people throughout my area and stuff like that, these high-level CEOs. We got a lot of billionaires in Naples, Florida too, and I want to meet all these people, and I'm telling him this stuff, and he's just like, yeah. Well, anyway, so, and I'm just like, All right.
Dang.
Yeah. So you don't get, I mean, here I can tell these guys that, and they're
Right.
like, all right, tell me more. How you going to do it? What are
Right.
we going to, we can help. Where can we jump in
Right.
too? So it's like, you get these relationships here of people that are like-minded that are trying to get to that next level,
Right.
and that pushes you to continue to get to that next level. Like I see what these guys are doing. I mean, my social media is these guys, like I see it every single day, and it boosts me up.
I love
man.
that.
So that's what I see with the whole group and everything, and that's why I love being a part of it
Right.
and continue to be a part of it for sure.
Totally, dude. I couldn't agree more. Like the encouragement aspect of it,
Yeah.
where you have people that actually want to see you win, right?
Right.
I've got a great group of friends at home, right? And we do have good conversations about business, about life, all that kind of stuff, right? But it's a totally different perspective here
Yeah.
too, right? You have people who are going through the exact same issues that you are, right?
Right.
Because they're all contractors, right? Everyone has the same issues, right? It's either people or strategy or whatever it is, right?
Right.
And so being able to relate on those things, being able to support each other and help each other grow is huge for me.
I like that answer. What you got for me, G?
Yeah, I love that. I think it is a lonely road for me just being younger.
Yeah.
Anyone around our area, they're not on the same mission. So it is a very lonely place. You don't have those people in my area to turn to, and because they don't know business. Like you said, they're
Right.
working for someone else.
Right.
And they don't know what I'm going through, the struggle
100%.
of business, having multiple employees that have families, Brian always talked about he said something at the Naples trip, who loses if we don't win? And those people don't know that. So, but I do, these guys do.
Right.
So I would say it's definitely being younger. It's definitely a harder, place to be in. So I love this group, we're all on the same mission. So I turn to these people, more than anything,
Right.
Most of my best friends are 35 up. So I don't hang around people my age. So because of that.
And I don't think you can, man. I mean, at some point in time, bro, you become what you hang around, right? And like, as much as I love my home friends, right? If we're not on the same type path, like, we can only hang out so often.
Yeah, agree.
You know what I mean? Because like the path that I'm trying to go, there's a lot of people involved. There's a lot of people who count on me, right? And I'm not out here just living for myself. I'm selfless, and I'm also selfish. I'm selfish because I have to be there to be selfless, right? You got people to take care of, right? So selfishly, you got to take time I got to sit down and think about the strategy. I can't go out with you, Tom, because right now I got 4 other people to feed, including my kids. You know what I mean? So that lifestyle is so different. So let's talk about this for a second. What is the difference being a construction CEO in comparison to maybe the CEO of Walmart? What do you guys think is the biggest difference?
I don't know, man. I've never been the CEO of Walmart. I mean, there's a lot that goes into construction too, man. We especially in the home building world, we're constantly getting hit left and right with certain things that are happening, and you got to stay level-minded. You got to stay focused. You got to be able to resolve problems. That's what I'm good at, is resolving problems. I'm good at talking to people. I'm good at helping people through things too. And as a leader of an organization, especially a home building organization, I'm the one that makes sure the ship doesn't sink.
Right.
So, when all these things are happening and that people are coming to me, you got to keep a calm head to be able to fix those things, right? So it's just, I don't know, construction's crazy. It's not an easy profession. A lot of people get in it for the money, but you find out real quick it's hard to get the money, So it's unless you have everything in place, the systems, processes. I always say too, man, I've been in building my whole entire life, but I'm still learning every day.
Wow.
Like there's still stuff that I do not know that I'm still asking questions about too, because these houses, they take a lot of work, a lot of skill, a lot of development, and so it's just always learning, always trying to get better, always trying to help your team, guide them to put the right pieces in place to execute and be the best that you can be, pretty much. So
Love that. I love that answer. What you got for me?
Man, this might be a little bit controversial to say, but I don't think there's a whole lot of difference.
Mm.
The scale's obviously different. They're probably making a lot more money than we are.
Yep.
However, it's all the same problems,
Right.
right? Sales, marketing, technology, finance, HR, all the same stuff at the end of the day, right?
Right.
And in many cases, they have an amazing leadership group at that level that has those skills to help them along that path, right?
Right.
And in many cases, as small business owners, we don't have that support yet, right? And so I think we're dealing with the same problems, right? And in many cases, we're dealing with all the problems ourselves,
Right.
instead of having that amazing core
Man.
group of leadership, right? And so I would say it might be even harder.
Ooh.
Watch out, Walmart.
Don't tell the CEO of Walmart that.
He's listening.
No, I definitely agree with Travis here. You know, there's a lot of moving pieces in all these businesses.
Right.
You know, whether it's a product-based business like Walmart or a construction-based business like all of us. You know, there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of shit that goes wrong. I do think there's a lot of similarities. But to your point, yeah, we have to deal with it on our own.
Right.
You know, we don't have these huge, 1,000 people organizations, 1,000+ people organizations. So it's hard, construction, I've had guys fall through roofs before. I've had guys on the asphalt side that have coated garage doors. So you might not have that in your product-based business, but in the services, you're going to have that type of stuff. So that's where the hard part comes in, I would say, for us, equipment breaking down, guys, everyone deals with guys not showing up to work. But what we're doing in the service-based industry, it's hard work. It's hard to, push your team to actually get out of bed when they're doing back-breaking work. So
I can't lie to you, man. I thought about this the other day. If I was a college coach, what type of kids would I recruit? Immediately it came to my head, I would only go get kids that have contractors as parents. Here's why. It's because they get a chance to really see on what that grit looks like, what that hard work looks like. It's the closest thing that we can get to the 90s, the 80s, the 70s is in the contracting world. Part of the reason why we have TCS in the first place is because some people still live in the 1990s, 80s, and 70s, right? But you get those real gritty, hardworking people. These are not people who are just here to be here. They're there for a purpose. They have a lot going on. 9 times out of 10, I've met some contractors out there that have more than the world against them, right? But then they find a way. Those are the kids I want to play for me because I don't got time for soft. You know what I mean? I'm saved, but I'm not soft. So let's get into this a little bit. If you were to follow each of you, right, to follow yourself, what is one of your best qualities about your leadership skills? Now, let me reframe that. What's your best leadership quality?
Man, I'd probably say, I don't know, problem solving once again. Communication, I guess, is probably pretty good too. I'm just always able to kind of guide people and help deal with certain situations to keep everybody level-headed and calm. I never used to be that way, but I started really focusing on, like, stop overthinking things, stop trying to picture the outcome before it happens, because I think a lot of people in construction struggle with that. And when you just kind of take things head on and just go for it, usually the outcome's pretty good.
Right.
Majority of the time, especially if you solve a situation like right away, you're honest about it, you're upfront about what the problem was, usually it's going to go okay. So, I mean, even with my employees and the people within our organization, our team members, I always try and say, like, don't overthink it.
Right.
Just, write that email. If you want me to look at it, that's fine, but just don't overthink it, because I guarantee the result's going to be better than it is. So being able to kind of coach people on that and kind of it gives them comfort in a lot of ways too. And so I've been really working on that and gotten really good with doing that. And I think it's helped our team problem solve a lot better overall.
That's huge, bro. That's huge.
That is huge. Yeah. Problem solving is like probably one of the most important things in business, in my opinion. But
100%.
personally, man, I love people. I absolutely love people. Like, I love all you guys. Like, there's so many different personalities in the world, right?
Love you, bro.
Love you, man.
But it's so true. There's so many different personalities that we get to come across and do business with on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
Whether it's your team members, whether it's the people that your clients you work with, right? Whether it's your vendors and your subcontractors, and being able to love on people, connect with people, encourage people to do better in themselves, right? I think that's one of my best leadership qualities, right? It's just people in general, right? Connecting with people, right? And trusting that they're gonna, if you give them responsibility, they're gonna be able to get it done,
Right.
right? And I think that that took me a long time to learn, right? To trust people, but for me, I think that's one of my best assets is just how to deal with people on a day-to-day basis.
Wow.
That's good.
No, that's awesome. Yeah. I would say, my best leadership trait would be consistency and also painting the vision.
There you go.
So I try to, and how that shows up for our employees is, I'm trying to show them, I'm waking up at 5 o'clock every morning. I'm going to the gym right away,
Mm-hmm.
showering, getting ready, and then being to work at 7:30. So I'm there before every employee, but also I leave later than every employee. And we kind of all talk about, especially here in TCS, is how you show up is how they'll show up. So I would say that consistency is really huge for my company. And then on the vision side, I know where we're going. I know where we're taking this. I know I struggle with walking before I run. I'm strap on a jetpack and let's freaking go.
I love that.
But I have a great team. I'm not good at everything, and that's why we hire these people. I'm good at painting the vision. My operations guy, he's good at what he can do. My VP of sales, he's good at what he can do. So I would say we're all on the same mission. We all have the same vision of where we're going, and it comes down to legacy too. So we all are on that same piece. We want our kids to take over this company.
Right. And let's talk about that a little bit, because you guys are great leaders, and I love the way that you guys lead your groups, right? But we also got to think about that you guys are also fathers, not only to your kids, but to an amount of staff, right? Because you guys might be the closest thing that anybody has ever seen to a father. I'm just being honest, right? How many people that probably work for you, if not work for you, that you're constantly around that don't have a dad, you know what I mean, or don't have somebody that is that prominent leader in their lives, right? Talk about the importance of men raising men and men raising the people around them, because I truly, genuinely believe we're currently in a state of emergency for our kids, because we don't have enough adults being adults and raising these kids, right? Uncles being uncles and raising these kids, grandfathers being grandfathers and raising these kids, right? Because it takes a community to raise a village. So in order for us to do that, we got to be there for each other. This community is nice because we got kids like Be Good, right? He's going to be a great man. He's going to be a great father because of the men that are in here. There's a great group of men. You guys have taught me a lot. So talk about the importance of holding that standard and being able to raise the people that are around you. Because we talk about it and we act like it's funny, right? Like we're like, bro, like, I got you, but like you like my son. You know what I mean? Just messing around. But reality sets in, bro. Like if I'm the leader of you, you're looking at me as if I am somewhat, not your father, but I'm the person that's leading you and guiding you in your life. That's a responsibility that's not easy, man. That is a hard responsibility. Because like my man G said, bro, he has to show up every day. Because now I'm consistent, but now what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're becoming consistent. You're becoming disciplined, right? Now when you go home to your kids, right? They're becoming consistent. They're becoming disciplined. We're men raising men. That is a scary ask, bro. There's not many people who are willing to step up to the plate. I commend each and every one of you to do so. But talk about the importance, especially in today's era, of men raising men and women raising women.
Yeah, man, it's huge, because obviously I just had a son too, and I mean, you basically, they're sponges. Kids are sponges. I've talked about this too. Like I looked up to my dad my whole entire life, right? My dad was a hard worker. He taught hard work. There's some things I'm going to change, obviously, too. I won't get into, but
You got your ass whooped beat.
But if we're not stepping up, we're not doing the things that we need to do to, push the organization, do the things like read books to get the knowledge to help other people and be leaders, be generally leaders, man. Why should other people do it? It's like you said, if we're not showing up early, or if we're not, going home, if we're going home early and doing these things that we shouldn't be doing, people are going to be like, all right, he's leaving early, I'm going to leave early too.
Right.
The boss is out, let's go. Let's shut it down. Let's just, half-ass the rest of the day.
Right.
So, I mean, it's huge what you said, because we are the representations of our companies too. And if we can be the best versions of ourselves in all ways of life, people see that. It's like it's crazy. Because when I first got into personal development, I wasn't the best version myself, but as I started learning personal development, getting around the right people, having the right mentors, and everything started kind of around me started taking shape, and it started taking shape for the better. And it's crazy that they say, you don't believe it when you first hear it, but when you start being that better version, everybody around you is like, all right, he's doing something. All right, he did 75 hard, or maybe I should try that.
Right.
My whole family tried 75 hard after I
Come
did,
on,
man.
nah.
So it's like,
That's awesome.
it's like you're doing something right. It makes you feel good too. And it's just like, you know, we just had Jenna just filmed us too with my siblings. My siblings have never said this to me, and it meant a lot. Like they were like, we look up to him. You know, my sister goes, he's kind of my advisor. Like I go to him for you know, when I need something too. We look at him as a leader.
Steady hand.
Yeah. Then for them to say that they look at me as a leader, I'm like, whoa. I'm the youngest sibling.
I'm
man.
already knowing how you're feeling.
So that was like something that I'm like, all right, I'm doing something right.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that to answer your question, it's just like if we act the right way, we do the right things, man, people are gonna follow suit. And you talked about that too. So for sure.
100%, man. And it's so true. We are sponges as kids, right?
Yeah.
And we absorb everything that our parents are, good or bad, right?
Yeah.
And so people follow good leaders, they follow bad leaders.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you got to choose what you want to be. So we have to set the standard, we have to set the pace as leaders. And if our standard isn't good, right? If we haven't looked at what our standard should be as a company or for ourselves, right? Then probably our team members are going to follow suit.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and it also, if we're not setting the pace, right? If we're lazy, if we're showing up late, like you're saying, right? If we're not consistent, then more than likely our team members are probably going to do the same thing. So we are the example for our company.
Yep.
So let's make sure that we're a good example.
I like that. That's a great answer, T.
Yeah, love that. You know, for me, obviously, I don't have any kids yet.
Right.
But, you know, I've had multiple men in my life that have been around. I mean, Brian Hess, for example, 5 kids, runs an awesome organization, busy. I asked him last time I was here 3 weeks ago, I'm like, how do you have all this energy? I mean, you're living off that First Form energy drink. And, you know, I aspire to be like Daniel Good, like Marvin, Brian Hess, like all those people. I've had multiple others that, you know, I hope that one day I can be that leader, not only in the organization, but for our kids.
Right.
And to your point, for our employees' kids.
Right.
You know, one thing that, you know, the reason why I'm doing this so young is to give my future family the life they've only dreamed of.
Right.
So I want to be there. You know, my parents were awesome. You know, they were at every sporting event. I want to be that.
Right.
I know there's times, and Ed Milet talked about this at our retreat, that there's sometimes you are going to have to say no.
Right.
But we're going to be the ones writing the check if, you know, if a family member's in need or if a friend calls me and is in need, you know, that's why we work our ass off. So, you know, I aspire to be like those people, you know,
I love that.
Even from a young age. So
I love
You're
that.
already there, man.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
You
yeah.
definitely are,
Appreciate
bro.
Yeah. You're
You
well
definitely
ahead for
are.
your age,
Yep.
bro.
And I will say this, man. One, you're well versed beyond your age, bro. Like
Yeah.
well versed beyond your age. I'm over here just like, bro, this man's 23.
I would,
Like, what the?
I would never even know you're 23, man. So when I was 23, I wasn't doing what you're doing.
Nope.
Listen, bro, I was in college playing football, so at 23,
Yeah.
I'm just, you can guess what I was doing. But with that said, man, I'm just being honest,
We
bro.
won't
I ain't
get
got
into
time to
it.
lie to nobody.
We won't get into it.
We'll leave it alone for the sake of my own lifestyle. But nah, man, I want to say this to you, all of you guys, man. You guys are incredible men, and what you guys are doing, bro, is just not easy. Like, it's not an easy task, bro. But I also want to challenge Ed Milet in that, right? Because yes, the money's beautiful. You're gonna give something to people that they've never had before. But when you die, what matters most to you? And if it is giving them that type of life, cool. But for some might say, right, because I have a couple friends. One of my friends, unfortunately, passed away due to the fact that he never got the chance to see his father. Although his father made as much money as you could possibly ever think of, right? He never seen his father. So was it the money spent or the time spent? Which one would you rather prefer? You know what I mean? Because you guys have amazing parents and amazing people that are in your lives, right? For me, before my mom died, it was the time that she spent, not the money that she spent on me. Right? So it's hard because y'all walk such a thin line between trying to advance your family and give them everything that they could possibly ask for. Then on the back end, how can I afford time so I don't miss it? You know what I mean? That's hard. That is a hard line to walk because you have to pay attention to the company. You have no choice because it's not just your family that you're taking care of. It's reality. It is not the only people you're taking care of, right? But you also still have a family to take care of. That is hard, bro. So let's talk about it a little bit. How do you find time for your family as well as your business? And what tactics have you used to help you out?
Yeah, I mean, when people talk about work-life balance, man, there never is one. To be honest with you, it's like but it goes back to being present, being where your feet are, 100%. And so when I'm home, I'm home.
Right.
And like I never used to be that way, but now when I'm home, I'm home. Like,
Right.
I even, as far as presence too, within my business, like I had an Apple Watch. I got rid of the Apple Watch just because it was driving me nuts with notifications. I know people out there, you can turn them off, but still with the Apple Watch, that's the next thing. Well, you can turn off the notifications, not all of them. But and then you get the little vibrate on your wrist and you think you're getting some, but nothing happens, So,
Time to stand.
exactly. So just little things like that, man. So I can have the presence of where I am too, and doing those little things like with the Apple Watch, for example, like I've been more present. If I'm in a meeting with somebody, it's like it's you and I.
Intentional.
Right? The phone's in my pocket.
Right.
I don't pull it out. The thing's ringing. I ignore it. It's you and me.
Right.
That's it. Clients, same way. Employees, if it's an employee meeting, it's just us.
Right.
I'm not pulling out my phone being like, hang on, guys. Yeah.
Right.
So it's just having that presence. But even at home, man, like, yeah, if I get home at 6 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock, whatever, like when I'm home, I'm home. And whatever I got to do now that I have a son to help my wife, like, she's putting him to bed. All right, I'll cook dinner. I actually like cooking. You didn't know that about me.
Nah, but I'm about to taste that food. I ain't gonna lie to you.
No, man, I got a Tre'd grill, man. I'm just firing that thing up all the time, looking at recipes. I got my Instagram going, but it's like it shuts things off for me too, because we're all in business, so our minds are constantly going about, all right, what's the next thing for business that I need to do? So when you have those little moments that you can kind of get away, like cooking food, you're helping your wife out. Then you can sit down, have dinner together. Right. You're present with her. The phone's on the counter somewhere else. Like, I think a lot of contractors struggle with that too, is because they're just like, they always have it there. Everybody does. I mean, you go to a restaurant, you see everybody like, they're not even talking. Like, look around. It's insane, man.
It blows my mind.
The kid's got an iPad. The parents are just like this. I see it all the time. And it's like, why are you even out to dinner? What do you do? Like, you're not even having a conversation with each other, man. So it's like, when my wife and I go out to dinner, phones are away. We're talking to each other. I try not to talk about work, like, because I just want to be with her in that moment too. So just little things like that, that kind of give me that balance, I guess, because you're never really going to truly have it, because we're entrepreneurs, man. We're working. Like, I got podcasts. I got to do this. I got to, so it's like whatever you can do, just be where your feet are, be present. Turn off the technology, because I think that's the biggest problem with the world today. A lot of people struggle with that, but that's my advice for that 100%. So
that's great, man.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think, dude, balance is hard, especially when you're when you're trying to make some money. Balance is hard. I don't know how much balance I've been able to have so far, but I think with a little bit of success, with a little bit more money, obviously the goal is to have more time freedom, right? And to spend more of that time with your family and your friends, right? And that's what's important to me, is being a good family member, being a good friend to people, right? And so I haven't figured that out yet, but I feel like, that's a focus for me, is how do I strike more balance in life, right? And so a lot of times Megan and I will work on work things together, right? And that's kind of cool, right? Being able to do that with your significant other.
Right.
But also, to Bill's point, putting your phone away. Like, that's the biggest distractor. Is the phone, is the social media, is the people hitting you up with text messages, right? Yeah. So putting that thing away and having some quality time one-on-one with whoever it is, I think that's the most important thing you can do.
I love that, man, because I agree. I definitely agree. We'll get into that in a second.
I'm kind of with Travis on this one. Obviously, we don't have kids yet. So we haven't figured that out, and we can't admit to that we have. So we can't put on a face. But I would say, that's why I'm working so hard right now. Right. I'm all gas, no brakes, so that down the road I can be more present with my family. I think that's the one advantage I have on most people, is because of starting so young, I can get my structure built, the organizational chart that the Callaways were talking about yesterday, so that I'm not on my phone all the time. If someone does have a question, yeah, my phone's always on, but there's other people that those answers can come from.
Right.
So, and it doesn't have to be from the leadership. So I would say, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing right now. That's why I started young and, building what I'm building. So, down the road, like I said, my parents were at every sporting event. I want to do that for my kids. So I want to be present. If there's a field trip, I want to take them. I want to take my kids to school. So I would say, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
I love that, man, because I really, really believe in being intentional, like even with the people I'm around. If anything that you remember from me, and it may never, ever happen, I pray it doesn't, but if I would happen to pass away, right? What would be the last thing that you would remember about me? I hope there wouldn't be that I'm on my freaking cell phone. You know what I'm saying? So I try to be intentional with every conversation I'm having. That's why you see me smiling, running around here, having a great time, because like I don't want you to forget me. Like, let's really think about this, right? Because like ultimately people talk about all the time, like what we're currently doing right now. My biggest focus in life, I can't make this up, bro, is that my family don't forget who I am. Because when people die, it doesn't matter if they're your father, your mother, your brother, or your sister, right? When people die, eventually time goes on. As time goes on, they don't really remember on really who you were as a person. They just remember the memories. You know what I mean? So like, what can I give to you in that moment that you don't forget me when I leave? You know what I'm saying? Because it's not necessarily about just the person that I am, but what about the memories that we shared, right? The conversation that we had, the intentional time that we spent, right? Intentional. Listen to the word itself, right? You are actually taking time, just letting somebody know by looking them in their eyes, not looking at your phone, that, hey, I hear you. Let's do this other one. I see you. Uh-oh. I see you. Most people in this world only want that to happen. I just want to be seen by somebody. Anybody, right? You guys are, if not married, chasing something or have somebody along your side right now, right? She saw you. That's all you asked for. You see what I'm saying? Like, as men, bro, we're very simplistic. We don't need much. Just see me, talk to me. You know what I mean? Let me know what you need from me. So in that sense, even when I'm talking to somebody, even if I'm talking to Bill, if I'm talking to Travis, or I'm talking to G, right? I need you to know I see you. I need you to know I'm paying attention to you, because I may never see you again. And it will never be a time where I'm gonna be like, damn, I wish I would have.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I never want to be in that position ever again. I wish I would have said, yo, G, I appreciate what you're doing. I wish I would have said, hey, B, I see how your son's being raised, bro. Like, I appreciate that. You're teaching me a lot. Or Travis, like, bro, I see it's a family business, bro, but you figured it out. Like, I'm proud of you. Bro, you know how remiss I would be if I were going on to my next life or go on to wherever I will end up, right? And feel like I didn't give my all to the people I care about. I'll be pissed. I'll be so pissed. So I try to be intentional. You know what I'm saying? So talk about that a little bit, with being intentional with the people that are in your company as well as your family members. What does that mean to you?
Man, that's my word for this year too. Intentional.
Mine too, Billy B.
Yeah. Nah, man, it's like, I think the importance of being intentional, man, it's huge, because a lot of people, us in a busy world, I talked about this earlier, it's like, it's hard to focus. It's hard to, see the things around you too. And like I look at it, being intentional as God's path for you, right? And what he's putting in front of you. And a lot of people don't see what God directly puts in front of you.
Right.
So this year I've made it a focus to like see that.
Right.
I don't know if I told you the story, like my wife and I were driving to dinner one night, and we were just talking about the future, the visions, everything. And she's like, yeah, she wants a blacked out Escalade. I'm like, okay, we're going to get you that blacked out Escalade. And she's listening right now, probably.
You're going to end up driving that around.
But she's like, I want a blacked out Escalade. Okay, we're sitting at a red light. A blacked out Escalade drives by.
RAS.
Intentional. Yeah. So it's right there. I'm like, okay, I want a Lamborghini. That's like, since I was a little kid, I've always wanted a Lamborghini.
Red specifically, right?
No, black. But I had a picture of a red one on my wall as a real little kid. So we're sitting at that same red light, that black Escalade drives by. All of a sudden, I hear a car rev right next to us. Look over, it's a red Lamborghini.
Come on.
Revved right next to us, a red Lamborghini. I'm getting chills talking about it, and then I'm just like, if that ain't God right there telling me I'm on the right path, and we're talking about these visions, be intentional, right?
Come on.
So if I would have not have noticed those things, that's what a lot of people don't. They don't see the surroundings. They don't see the direction God's trying to take you. And I'm trying to do that more. It's been, the more I've been doing it, my wife's like, what is happening with you? Like, there's all these things keep taking place, these, all these connections and these things. I was like, God's putting these people in my life to take me to that path, right? So me being intentional with my surroundings, with my family, me being intentional with my business too, and coming here, learning things here and bringing it back to the business, teaching the people there, that's all part of that path, right? Being here today, like I said, that's part of the path, and learning something that I can take back to my team meeting next Tuesday and reiterate these things to my team. And just putting them in a place for success, because I always tell them too, it's setting the vision for them too. You talked about the visions, and having a clear vision. So I always tell them too, these houses that we're building with these big houses on the water, you guys are going to have one day. If we stick to the path, you know, that's the vision. Each one of you guys is going to have a house like that. We just have to keep going, you know, listen to what I'm doing, listen to what you guys are doing, become intentional, and we're going to get there too. It's just, we're paving the way, we're doing the right thing, we're you know, and I'm here to lead the way to do it. So being intentional, figuring out things, that's how we're going to get there. So I don't know the whole story yet, but God's going to put it in front of me somewhere. So
My man Billy B, he be on a tangent, don't he? Right? I was over there about to write shit down. Like, all right, I hear you. What you got for me, Travis?
Man, you're making me feel something. I love it. I love it. But that's, I mean, that's kind of the basis of it too, is you talked about like how you're going to be remembered. Well, it's how did you make people feel?
Come on, nah.
Right?
there you go.
And it's, yeah, I heard you. I saw you, but how did I feel you? Did I feel the connection,
Come
right?
on,
And that's
nah.
like the biggest part of communication, right, is the connection piece. And I talked about this yesterday about asking questions and then actually listening to people, right? Don't just try to talk at people, and a lot of people do that, right? They want to be heard, right? And that's a great thing, right? So let's hear them. Let's listen to what they have to say, right? And that's the biggest piece of communication, right? And connecting with people. And that's how I want to make my friends feel, is heard. Hey man, let me hear your challenges, your struggles. You know, but the only way we're going to find that stuff out is asking questions, and being intentional with how we want to make people feel.
Yep.
Facts. I love that, Travis. I 100% agree. 100% agree.
Yeah, 100%. You know, I think we all struggle being where our feet are. So, you know, that's something we talked about in Naples. That's something we talk about a lot is, you know, being where our feet are. You know, I'm here with you guys. I'm not looking down at my phone that's under this table. You know, I'm listening to what everyone has to say. But you know, if you have an employee that comes in your office, I'm not going to be working on my computer over here and just listening, letting it go out the other ear. You know, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to talk to you. So be where your feet are. You know, I had a similar experience like Bill. You know, I had a rough day. I was when I was doing residential roofing. You know, I had a rough day on knocking doors.
Right.
You know, that's the best way to get sales is knocking doors, and you know, constant rejection. And, you know, anyone that knows me knows I'm a car guy. You know, on my computers, on my phone, you know, my vision board's on there. There's a Lamborghini on there. So I love them. But that day, you know, I was really struggling. I kept thinking about, hey, what's your why? What's keeping you going? What's the vision? And right then, a blue Lamborghini went by. And then he pulled in to the parking lot right next to me. And, you know, I went over and talked to him. After that, I went on and sold 3 roofs that day. So it's just, you know.
Intentional.
Yeah. Think about your why. Stay intentional. You know, that guy in Cincinnati is a custom Lamborghini. You know, they didn't, I think they only made like 33 of them. It was a Huracan. And, you know, that guy made my day. And, you know, it brightened my day. I went on, you know, to sell. And, so yeah, and I know in St. Louis a couple weeks ago, you know, we had a group, 5 of us that went to St. Louis to go see the First Form building and also be there for BuildWit. You know, we kind of talked about, you know, what do we want to be remembered by?
Right.
You know, what's one thing that you want to be remembered by? And, you know, mine was he did what he said he was going to do. So, you know, that's the one thing that I'm striving for. You know, everything I say, you know, I want to follow that up. You know, I want to show people that I did that. So,
See, right now I want to talk about something before we get up out of here. It's my last question. I'm a competitive person. I don't know if you guys know this, but extremely competitive. Like we're cool. We're cool in here, but if you go ahead and you're like, yeah, let's go compete. Okay, bet.
I only saw him do 2 pull-ups the other day.
Yeah, I saw that too.
I did 2 pull-ups. Letting everybody know right now, these hands work. I'm saying that right now. They put a lot of time in. But with that said, the reason why I say that is because you guys talk about intentionally putting things on your phone to remind you where you're trying to go. You know what I mean? So for me, I'm going to show you guys this. All right? Don't make fun of me, okay? I have a black Jaguar, right, on my phone. Here's why. The black Jaguar is one of the only species that goes into another habitat of a predator and kills it and brings it out of the habitat to take it into its own. It reminds me every day, right? Don't just be the predator. Be the predator that's not afraid of anything. You understand me? So for me, what does that look like, right? To me, that looks like it doesn't matter the challenge that comes to you that day. It's going to happen. There's going to be some type of challenge. But don't let 5 minutes become 24 hours. That's hard. It's a hard challenge because the devil's always working, right? So although those 5 minutes that took up your day, right, you didn't get any sales, it also took 5 minutes for somebody to pull up in a Lamborghini to change your whole mindset, right? So there's times where as men and as people, we miss out on our opportunities because we look at the negative more than we look at the positive, especially when it comes to business, right? You might have had a big flop, but you just sold $2 million worth of sales, but you're sitting there thinking on the what? The big flop. There's a couple coaches out there that talk about they never focused on the win or the loss. They just focused on one play at a time. Yeah. They typically end up being some of the greatest coaches of all time. It's because it's not about the win, nor is it about the loss. It's about being detailed, being intentional, paying attention to the small things, right? But also realizing the wins that you have. Mm-hmm. What made you win? Why did you win? Film study. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, as contractors, you guys don't have a lot of film study unless you're looking at yourself talking about what you love to talk about. But with that said, man, when do you feel that you're, this is going to sound funny, but primal? And I like to use primal because I feel like that's when I'm back in my competitive edge. You know what I mean? As you can tell, I'm an animal guy. I'm not a big car guy, but I am an animal guy, right? And for me, there's two animals that I really resonate with. It's the eagle and the black jaguar. Now, I don't know if you guys know this about the eagle. The eagle, about 40 years, has two options in life. To die after 40 years. Again, some of you are close to 40. Except for you, you're way closer to 20 than you are to 40. But with that said, at that time period, it has a choice to make. Its beak is overgrown, and its claws and its talons are also overgrown. Now, it can no longer eat. It can no longer grab. You have a choice to make, Mr. Eagle. Either die because you have no way to catch food and to eat, or survive. Break that talon, break that beak, let a new one grow. A lot of eagles die. Being honest, there's a lot of eagles that die out there. But then there's those few eagles that you see that are turned 60 or 50, and you're like, what the hell? How's this eagle grown to this point? Well, during that time period, the eagle spends multiple weeks breaking its talons. You know how painful that has to be? For new ones to grow, they are sitting there physically breaking their talons, physically breaking their beak to get to a new stage in life. Let's talk about people. You're physically breaking yourself of who you used to be to get to where you're trying to go. That's why you're here at TCS. Otherwise, you would not be here. If you were comfortable where you were at, you wouldn't have broke your talons. You wouldn't have broke your beak to grow a new one, to have growth, to experience things that we never expected to experience. I can only imagine who you men would be if you guys had not met the people that you've now met, where your companies would be, right? We hear about it in some of your conversations. It's amazing. Some of you say, specifically you, but I'm not even gonna lie to you, bro. Seeing on how your video content has changed through the era, I'm like, bro, my boy Billy B done found it. He done found his edge. You know what I mean? Travis went from not talking at all to being that guy. You know what I'm saying? And G, I'm getting to know you, bro, but you're the youngest entrepreneur that I personally know to date. You know what I mean? And that right there, I'm letting you know, I wanted to be you in my past time. That's a fact. I'm just being honest with everybody. I wanted to be that. I wanted to be a young entrepreneur doing what I want to do, driving the nice car, got the nice wife, everything in between. But it didn't happen that way, right? Everybody's gift is different. So last question here. I was long-winded, but I want to say this to you guys. What is the biggest thing that you felt you've learned since starting with TCS?
Man, learned a lot. I think I'm trying to figure out how to word this, and I think it's just execution in ways, I guess, is kind of the way to put it. Like, for example, like, instead of stressing so much about certain situations, being able to take what I've slowed down in and then maximize in something else, I guess, is a way to putting it. Like, for example, like, this year, our sales have been a little bit slower, but it's typical in the construction, and especially in home building for an election year. It always is. A lot of guys stress over it. Same with real estate, too. It's like, election year, a lot of people with money, they hold on to their money. They want to see what happens. It's a wait and see type thing. So instead of stressing about that, and you kind of just spoke on this, that's why this was popping in my head. Instead of just sitting, stressing about that, trying to maximize, okay, try and pressure and try and find more, you know, I'm like, okay, this is a way for me to focus finally on the expansion side of things. Because usually I'm so consumed with the meetings, the sales, the constant, like, everything coming in that we already, you know, that we have. But we're blessed right now, right? We're in a point right now where we're busier than we ever have. So like I said, being intentional, maybe this is God's way of being like, hey, you need to slow down a little bit. Your superintendents are all maxed out right now. You guys got a lot of closings. We have 16 houses right now being built at once. That's like huge for it. That's like probably the most we've ever had all at once. So, so I think in this moment, I'm like, all right, now I'm able to find the time to meet with realtors, meet with accountants, meet with people around the city of Naples, and form more relationships, network more, and get in front of these people, have them on my podcast, do these things that I was not able to do before, and make time for it, right? So when you take perspective and you start changing things so that you can figure out that growth and form that growth into the future and get yourself set up for the future. Because right now I got 2 years of work, 3 years probably too. We're good for about 2-3 years. It takes a while to build a house down where we are. So now I have the time to kind of focus on, all right, what's my next step to get to the next level to be the largest builder in the state of Florida?
Right.
You know, that's the overall goal, is to be the largest luxury builder in the state of Florida, I should say. So let's make those moves now, right? So that's kind of my thing with that.
I love that. I love that.
You're getting there, dude.
Yeah, appreciate it, bro.
Trey, I love the analogy of the eagle breaking off its talons and its beak.
Come
man.
on.
Like, if we're not growing, we are absolutely dying.
Yeah.
Right? And I think the most important thing that I've learned at TCS so far is don't just be the consumer of information, right? Actually take action on that stuff, right? And that took me a while to do, right? I want to wait for the perfect moment to put something in place or to do something in my business, right? And it's not ever going to be the perfect moment. Take action on it, right? And go and do those things. It's going to speed up that process a lot, right? And so in order to grow, we need to break off pieces of our old self and replace them with new pieces. And so that, to me, I mean, is taking off those old bad pieces, right? Replacing them with things that we learn here at TCS from our peers, right? And growing in turn, right? So love that analogy, man.
For sure. Thank you. Appreciate that, T. You know what I mean?
And to Travis's point about taking action, you know, what comes before that is don't be afraid to ask. You know, be open with these people. Don't be afraid to ask the question. And then also, you know, something that stuck with me last night with Rocky, you know, Steelers legend, was at our meetup last night. Don't quit. You know, to the eagle analogy. Don't quit. Don't die. I know Ed Milet talks about this a lot. You know, don't let your will to win be bought. And there's multiple, you know, influencers out there, videos out there that you're so close to that dream self. You know, whether it's physical, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your Christianity, you're so close to that self that you want to be. Don't quit. So, and I think that's something that has been big for me. You know, early on when I first started in business, you know, I had a business that failed very early on. You know, I could have quit. I could have went back to college. You know, I could have went and worked for someone else. But I took the risk to start, you know, what we're building right now. So, and so that's one thing that I'll leave people with is don't quit.
I love that,
That's
man.
awesome, man.
So we're going to wrap this up. If you haven't heard it, you've seen it here, bro. We got 3 amazing men right here. I can't thank these men enough. Thank you so much for being great people and doing what you need to do. So with that said, if you haven't done it, like, share, comment, subscribe, tell your mama, your grandmother, your sister, your auntie about Tre'd Talk. If you haven't done it, tell your sister that, hey, Tre'd is a pretty cute guy too, man. So I'm just letting you guys know. Tell everybody you know about Tre'd Talk. This has been Tre'd Talk. These are my lovely guests, man. We appreciate y'all. Y'all have a blessed day. We out of here.